The Outlander set was busier than ever that day. The crew was preparing for one of the most romantic scenes of the new season. The cameras, lights, and props were all ready. But what made the atmosphere even more tense was the appearance of Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe, the main couple who always made everyone watch. The director shouted action, and immediately the two got into character. Sam grabbed Caitriona's hand, his eyes burning, and she trembled slightly, as if it was Caitriona herself, not the character Claire, facing Jamie Fraser. The scene lasted longer than expected, because the director realized an interesting fact. Sam and Caitriona seemed to forget that there were dozens of people around them watching. They were immersed in each other's eyes, their gestures more natural and gentle than the script. When the cut sound rang out, instead of letting go, Sam still held Caitriona tightly, his eyes flashing with mischief. The whole crew was silent for a few seconds, then burst out laughing. Caitriona blushed, half embarrassed, half unwilling to be separated. That wasn't the only time they made everyone curious. During breaks, the actors would usually find their own corner to rest. But Sam and Caitriona chose to tease each other like children, from fighting over a cup of coffee, to hiding each other's scripts. The loud laughter echoed in the dry space of the set, making everyone in the crew feel energized. The strange thing is, there were scenes outside the script that only Sam and Caitriona understood each other. For example, when a scene was ruined by the sound, instead of stopping, they improvised with improvised dialogue. To the point that the director decided to keep that scene, because of their unbelievably perfect chemistry. The whole crew joked, "These two don't need a script, just standing next to each other is enough to create cinema." Gradually, Sam and Caitriona's off-screen moments became the most interesting secret behind the scenes. People talked. Was there something more than just a colleague relationship between them? Or was it simply a rare harmony of two artistic souls? One day, when the filming ended late, the crew had almost cleaned up. Sam and Caitriona were still sitting in the old room of the studio. The dim lights were just enough to clearly show two tired but still radiant faces. Sam said half jokingly, half seriously, "Perhaps, everything the audience sees on the screen is just a small part of us." Caitriona did not answer right away. She just looked at him, her eyes complicated, deep, as if she wanted to hold that moment forever. And when they both burst into laughter, no one in the crew knew what they were laughing about. Only the camera accidentally turned on in the corner of the room, quietly recording everything. Darkness gradually enveloped the set as the last crew members left. Footsteps echoed in the empty space, leaving only Sam and Caitriona. The overhead spotlights flickered, casting long shadows on the wooden floor. The air was thick, both quiet and tense. "Do you find it strange?" Caitriona spoke softly, her voice small but clear. "How is it strange?" Sam leaned back in her chair, his deep blue eyes looking straight at her. "Every time we act together, I feel like everything disappears. The cameras, the crew, the noise. It's just you and me." Sam laughed, but there was something serious in that laugh. He didn't answer right away, just slowly stood up and moved closer. The distance between them shortened to the point where Caitriona could clearly feel the warm breath on her face. "Maybe because we're not just acting," Sam said softly, each word falling like a sharp knife. Caitriona's heart was pounding, as if all her excuses, all her barriers were shaking. Outside, the press and fans were always curious and speculating. But at this moment, in the silent studio, they were just two people struggling with their own truth. The next day, the atmosphere on the set suddenly changed. Rumors spread quickly among the crew that someone had accidentally seen Sam and Caitriona leaving the studio together very late last night. Some whispered that they had sat for hours in the empty room. Others claimed that there was a security camera recording the moment the two talked privately. The director said nothing, but the look he gave them during the morning meeting was clearly unusual. The camera assistant chuckled, occasionally glancing at the two with curiosity. That scene was one of the hottest scenes of the new season. When the director shouted, "Action!" Sam approached Caitriona, his hand cupping her face, Their lips closed together. The atmosphere exploded. This time, the whole crew almost held their breath. Everything went beyond the script, no longer the usual pretense. The eyes, the breathing, every gesture carried a naked truth that made the audience shiver. "Cut!" the director shouted, but no one dared to move. Sam and Caitriona still did not separate. A few seconds of strange silence followed, before the whole crew burst into laughter, clapping loudly. Someone blurted out, "Maybe we are watching a movie within a movie." Caitriona blushed, turned away. Sam just smiled, as if there was nothing to hide. But increasingly, that excessive chemistry got them into trouble. An article suddenly appeared online. Sam Heughan Caitriona Balfe. Is the chemistry off-screen really just acting? A blurry photo taken from afar, two silhouettes sitting next to each other in a studio room, became evidence that caused the entire fandom to stir. Their manager immediately called, asking them to limit their misleading actions. But how could they control their emotions, when each scene forced them to get closer, forced their eyes to meet, forced their hearts to beat in unison? One evening, after finishing a heavy scene, Caitriona tiredly left the set. Suddenly, Sam ran after her, pulling her into a hidden corner behind a row of trucks. "We need to talk." "Sam, not now." "No, now." He looked at her, his eyes burning. "I can tell everyone that there's nothing between us. But I can't deny the look in my eyes, Kate. On screen, off screen, it's all real." Caitriona choked up. For years, they had maintained a fragile boundary between acting and reality, between art and life. But that boundary was now like a thin sheet of glass, shattering with just a light touch. She turned away, but Sam suddenly grabbed her hand and pulled her closer. In that moment, the whole world seemed to stop. No more lights, no more cameras, no more rumors. Just two heartbeats, beating to the same rhythm. The next day, Caitriona appeared with an unusual calmness. She laughed and joked with everyone, chatting as if nothing had happened. Sam remained calm, but whenever the cameras started rolling, they blended together so naturally that no one believed it was an act. The director finally admitted, "There were moments when I thought I could just stand there and let the camera record. Sam and Caitriona did the rest." And so, more of the off-script scenes were kept. They became the soul of the whole film, something that captivated the audience without understanding why. People called it art, but for Sam and Caitriona, it was also a truth that they were not ready to reveal. In the final scene of the season, when Jamie and Claire parted in the rain, Sam and Caitriona hugged each other tighter than required. The whole crew stood still, silent. When the director shouted, "Cut!" no one dared to breathe loudly. Because everyone knew, what had just happened was no longer a movie. It was real, vivid and intense, recorded on film for the whole world to see. And somewhere, in the dark corner of the set, that security camera is still silently on, keeping secrets that no script can write.